I can't wait to see the finals. One day I want to be in the same situation as this guy.
A $30 million smart mansion, a secret tech startup, and the NBA's most unpredictable genius. While most athletes chase applause, Jaylen Brown chases algorithms. He's not just dunking on defenders, he's designing the future. Every inch of this mansion thinks, moves, and learns, an extension of the man who built it. Some call it luxury. He calls it evolution. He grew up hearing the same line, stick to basketball, but he didn't listen. He studied chess, philosophy, and coding while perfecting his jump shot. He dreamed beyond the rim toward a world powered by intelligence and ownership. Now, inside this mansion, every room tells a story of discipline, data, and defiance. How did a kid from Marietta turn his mind into a movement? And what if the real revolution in basketball isn't happening on the court, but behind these doors? Before the $30 million mansion, before the contracts, before the headlines, there was Marietta, Georgia, a quiet suburb just outside Atlanta, where dreams had to be built from discipline, not luck. Jaylen Brown's story didn't start with fame. It started with a single mother and a belief system stronger than any jump shot. His mother, Marietta Brown, was an educator, a woman who believed that before you learn to dribble, you learn to think. She taught her sons that intelligence was power, and that character was the currency that never runs out. While other kids chased highlight reels, Jaylen chased meaning. He was reading philosophy before he could drive, studying the game of chess like it was life itself, every move, a strategy for survival. And yet, in a world obsessed with stats and swagger, that kind of thinking made him different. Some coaches called him too smart. Others said he was too serious. They didn't see a prodigy, they saw a problem. But Jaylen saw something else, a challenge. He learned early that being misunderstood was part of greatness, that silence could be strength. When others were trying to fit in, Jaylen was busy standing out. He wasn't just playing the game, he was studying it. The geometry of motion, the psychology of defense, the science of rhythm and control. To him, basketball wasn't chaos, it was logic. Every shot had a reason. Every loss had a lesson. By high school, his potential was undeniable. He was taller, sharper, more focused than anyone around him, a kid with a jump shot and a mind that refused to be boxed in. Still, success didn't come without struggle. He faced whispers, doubts, and coded criticism from people who couldn't understand how a basketball player could also talk about socioeconomics and global politics. One scout even said, "He's different, maybe too different." But that word became his fuel. He wasn't chasing validation, he was chasing vision. He once said, "If you have to choose between being understood and being real, choose real every time." And that became his blueprint. He was a 5-star recruit, but his identity wasn't limited to that ranking. Teachers saw a scholar, teammates saw a leader. The world was about to see both. When the University of California, Berkeley offered him a spot. It wasn't just a basketball scholarship, it was an intellectual awakening. Because Berkeley wasn't only where he learned to play under brighter lights, it was where he learned to question the world around him. There, he studied not just game tape, but ethics, economics, and human behavior. He joined think tanks, debated professors. He wasn't trying to escape basketball, he was expanding it. But back in those Marietta nights, none of that was guaranteed. There were days when the dream felt distant, when the noise got loud, when doubt lingered longer than applause. And still, every setback became data. Every loss became code. Every challenge became the next problem to solve. He was learning the most important truth of all. The mind was his greatest muscle. They called him complicated. He turned that into power. Because Jaylen Brown was never meant to fit into anyone's playbook, he was writing his own. He wasn't just built for basketball. He was built for something bigger. Something that would one day redefine what an athlete could be. Not just a performer, but a philosopher. Not just a scorer, but a scientist of success. And for every kid told to just stick to one thing, his story whispered a different truth: that greatness begins when curiosity refuses to stop asking questions. So, let me ask you this: if you had to choose fame or freedom, which would you chase? In 2016, a quiet kid from Marietta stepped into the spotlight, drafted 3rd overall by the Boston Celtics, one of the most storied franchises in NBA history. The weight of legends hung in the air: Russell Bird Pierce, and now a new name, Jaylen Brown. From day one, he was different. While rookies chased endorsement deals and highlight reels, Jaylen chased discipline. He studied film, memorized patterns, and treated every game like a chessboard. To him, basketball wasn't chaos. It was calculated movement. That first season, he didn't talk much, but his game spoke volumes. His drive cuts were sharper. His defense was relentless. He wasn't trying to impress. He was trying to improve. The Boston media didn't quite know what to make of him. Too serious, too intellectual, too introspective. But those who paid attention saw the spark as a method to the calm. By 2019, the quiet rookie had become the voice of the locker room. Veterans looked to him for leadership. Younger players followed his example. He didn't shout, he was inspired. The transformation was subtle, but powerful. Jaylen wasn't just fitting into Boston's legacy, he was reshaping it. Then came 2022, the finals run. The Celtics were back on the biggest stage, and Jaylen Brown was right in the center of it. The world saw not just an athlete, but a man who carried purpose in every possession. Every bucket, every steal, every huddle felt like a statement. We're not done yet. They didn't win the title that year, but Jaylen won something bigger: respect. He'd proven himself not just as a scorer, but as a strategist, a cornerstone, a symbol of resilience. 2023 changed everything. The Celtics offered him a 5-year, $304 million contract, the richest deal in NBA history. The headlines exploded. The quiet kid from Georgia now held generational wealth, the kind of deal that turned heads and opened eyes. But while the world talked numbers, Jaylen talked vision. In interviews, he said, "I want to help bridge the gap between the people who look like me and the opportunities that change the world." That line told the real story, because while he was making history on the court, he was already building something much bigger off it. During off seasons, he wasn't partying in Miami or shopping in LA. He was studying, sitting in classes at Harvard, MIT, and UC Berkeley, learning about technology, artificial intelligence, and global economics. Professors called him one of the most intellectually curious athletes they'd ever met. This wasn't about image, it was preparation, because Jaylen understood something most players never did: the game would end someday, but knowledge lasts forever. 2016 was his draft year. 2019 marked his rise as a leader, and 2023 sealed his legacy as one of the most forward-thinking players in NBA history. Each phase built on the last, every contract, every bucket, every lesson layered into purpose. Yet beneath the milestones, one theme echoed louder than all: independence. Jaylen didn't just want to play for a franchise. He wanted to build one on and off the court. He launched initiatives for player education, tech literacy, and business mentorship, helping athletes transition from paycheck to portfolio. He wasn't content with being a star. He wanted to create stars. Even his playing style began to mirror that mindset. Analysts called him cerebral, composed, clinical. His dunks were statements. His defense, discipline in motion. You could see the mind of a strategist behind every move. While others spent fortunes on fame, he invested in the unseen code, culture, and community. Because the biggest court Jaylen Brown ever played on wasn't made of hardwood. It was digital, built from ideas, innovation, and intellect. And that's where his story takes an unexpected turn. He wasn't just building stats. He was building systems. He wasn't chasing MVP trophies. He was coding the blueprint for modern athletes, thinkers, creators, leaders. Because for Jaylen Brown, greatness was never about fitting into tradition. It was about rewriting it. But the biggest investment wasn't on the court. It was in code, culture, and community. When the world saw the numbers on his record-breaking contract, everyone expected the usual fast cars, loud chains, endless headlines. But Jaylen Brown's version of luxury redefined what wealth could look like. His $30 million mansion in the Boston suburbs isn't just a home. It's a statement quiet, intelligent, and intentional. Spanning nearly 20,000 square feet, this isn't the kind of place that screams success. It hums it. Every inch of the structure breathes precision, from the imported Italian marble floors to the matte black walls that swallow light like velvet. Inside, you won't find gold or gaudy chandeliers. Instead, there's serenity, sharp lines, clean architecture, and the calm discipline of a man who thinks before he moves. The house itself feels alive. Every light, temperature shift, and sound cue responds to his voice. A single word dims the chandeliers, locks the doors, or switches the entire mansion into focus mode. It's powered by a full AI-integrated system, his own personal symphony of automation. Security? It's science fiction level. Facial recognition at every entry, motion sensors tuned to his gait, and biometric scanners that identify heartbeat signatures. Even the garage opens only when his Tesla sinks within range. And then there's the greenhouse. Not decorative, but functional. A self-regulating ecosystem powered by AI that monitors humidity, soil nutrients, and growth cycles. Inside, he grows herbs and vegetables for his own kitchen, proof that sustainability isn't a trend. It's a mindset. Walking through the mansion feels like entering a digital sanctuary. You can sense the harmony between design and intelligence. Every gadget, every texture telling a story of balance. The living space features low-slung Italian sofas, projection walls instead of televisions, and hidden speakers that adapt music to his heartbeat. His art collection mixes modern black abstracts with African sculptures, a dialogue between innovation and identity. And then, behind a black glass door, sits the one space that defines his discipline, his private gym. Accessed only through biometric scanning, the gym isn't just for muscle. It's a lab. Every piece of equipment syncs data to his performance tracker. A cryotherapy chamber stands in the corner, next to a film analysis room, where he reviews games in 8K projection. He doesn't just train harder, he trains smarter. While most athletes chase intensity, Jaylen chases insight. Every motion, every stat, every rep becomes feedback, a blueprint for mastery. Just down the hall, the garage tells another story, one of innovation, precision, and quiet power. His Tesla Model X represents the future, silent, electric, and sleek. It's not just transportation, it's technology on wheels, echoing his love for AI and sustainability. Then there's the Porsche Taycan Turbo, an electric beast that blends speed with elegance, zero emissions, full adrenaline, and finally, his signature ride, a custom matte black Range Rover, affectionately called the Boston Beast. Every detail from carbon fiber trim to adaptive lighting was designed for him. It's his reminder that power doesn't need to roar, it can glide. Beyond the machines and marble lies something subtler in his fashion. Jaylen Brown's style is luxury in its purest form, understated, intelligent, and personal. His wardrobe mirrors his philosophy, off-white collaborations, tailored suits in muted earth tones, and high-end techwear made from smart fabrics. He doesn't dress to impress, he dresses to express efficiency. Every fit says, "I've arrived quietly." His approach to luxury is summed up best in one line. Luxury isn't loud, it's intelligent. It's not about the price tag, but the precision. Not about appearance, but awareness. Every object in his life has a purpose. Functional, sustainable, forward-thinking. Jaylen doesn't see his home as a fortress. He sees it as an interface, a place where technology, art, and identity merge. For him, luxury isn't about collecting things. It's about connecting systems, the way his environment responds to his thoughts, how comfort meets consciousness. For Jaylen, every gadget isn't just designed with data. The Tesla talks to the house. The gym syncs with his smartwatch. Even his fridge predicts when he's running low on electrolytes. This is what happens when intellect meets indulgence. His wealth doesn't shout. It calculates. The mansion becomes a metaphor, a reflection of his evolution. From a kid studying at MIT to an NBA star investing in future tech, everything here feels engineered. Each design choice is deliberate. Glass to symbolize transparency, black for focus, and white marble for balance. He built a space that mirrors his mindset, fluid, minimal, unstoppable. As night falls, the mansion glows softly autonomous systems, securing doors, dimming lights, and lowering shades in rhythm with his sleep cycle. Outside, the pool lights trace subtle waves that dance like data streams. It's not opulence, it's orchestration. To the outside world, this might look like a modern palace. But to Jaylen, it's a lab, a living experiment where comfort meets consciousness. He once said, "I want to live in a space that reflects the way I think connected, intelligent, and alive." And that's exactly what this mansion is, a mirror of his mind. Every wall, every switch, every beam of light responds to the man who built it, not for show, but for strategy. And in that silence, amid the hum of automated life, one truth echoes loudest. Jaylen Brown didn't just buy a mansion, he built a message. Would you rather own a luxury car collection or a smart mansion that runs itself? When the cameras fade and the crowd disappears, Jaylen Brown becomes something very few athletes ever get to be quiet. His life, outside the court, runs on simplicity. No flashy entourage, no constant parties, just routine, reflection, and rhythm. Every day begins with stillness, a deep breath, a reminder that before the game, the noise, or the fame, there's the mind. He's an introvert in an extroverted world, the kind of man who finds peace in silence, power in solitude. He once said, "I train my mind more than my body," and you can see it in how he lives measured, minimal, meaningful. His mansion may hum with technology, but his heart beats to ancient rhythms, philosophy, mindfulness, balance. Every night he reads. Every morning he writes. His journals are full of ideas about consciousness, leadership, and community. He treats thought the way most people treat trophies, something to earn, polish, and protect. When he isn't playing or investing, he's creating. Jaylen writes poetry rhythm and reflection rolled into one. His words carry the same precision as his jump shot, deliberate, smooth, and piercing. But perhaps what defines him most is how fiercely he protects his personal life. His rumored relationships stay in the shadows. He's been linked to models, entrepreneurs, and artists, but never confirmed a thing. He guards his heart, one reporter once said, the same way he guards the paint. That privacy isn't about mystery, it's about meaning. Jaylen knows that attention is currency, and he spends his money carefully. Family is his foundation. His mother, Makala, remains his compass, the one who kept him grounded when the world started calling his name. She taught him discipline, education, and empathy. His younger brother is his confidant, part best friend, part mirror. Together, they've built a quiet support system that fame can't touch. Even in success, he's never outgrown gratitude. He still checks in with old teachers, donates anonymously to schools in Georgia, and sends care packages to kids who remind him of himself. Chess, that's his obsession. Strategy over impulse, patience over power. The same qualities that built his game now build his peace. In a world that rewards noise, Jaylen mastered the art of quiet dominance. He watches anime to unwind, finding inspiration in stories of discipline, loyalty, and self-mastery. His favorite characters aren't the loudest heroes, but the calm strategists who win before the fight even begins. And then there's the late-night ritual. When the world sleeps, he trains not for fame, but for flow. It's not about adding muscle. It's about maintaining clarity. He once told a teammate, "When my body is in motion, my thoughts align." To Jaylen, workouts are therapy. Movement is meditation. Those close to him say he's different. Not in the distant, aloof way, but in how deeply he feels everything. He questions, analyzes, and seeks meaning in the smallest routines. He's built his life like his mansion, not for spectacle, but for symmetry. His circle is small, but powerful. He's close with Jason Tatum, more like brothers than teammates. They push each other, both on and off the court. Then there's LeBron James, a mentor who respects Jaylen, not just as a player, but as a thinker. Their conversations go beyond basketball, touching business, education, and the black future in tech and ownership. Around him are not just athletes, but innovators, tech founders, community organizers, and philosophers. His dinners look more like think tanks than parties. In those spaces, Jaylen doesn't need to be the loudest in the room. He's the one asking the hardest questions. Still, no matter how large his network grows, his compass never wavers. Peace, purpose, progress. Those are the three words that guide his every choice. He once wrote in his journal, "Balance isn't found in things. It's built in time. You earn peace the way you earn trust daily." That's Jaylen Brown, a man who can drop 40 points one night, then spend the next morning meditating in silence. He's proof that luxury doesn't have to be loud, that success can coexist with serenity. He's built a world that runs on focus, a sanctuary where his body recovers, his mind expands, and his soul stays still. But the real game he's playing isn't basketball, it's influence. They say greatness is measured by trophies, but for Jaylen Brown, it's measured by impact. Before he was an NBA All-Star, he was an activist. Before the cheers, there was a cause. When the world stood still during the 2020 protests, Jaylen didn't tweet, he drove. 15 hours, from Boston to Atlanta, just to lead a march through the streets where he grew up. No cameras, no PR team, just conviction. He wasn't there to make a statement. He was there to make a stand. As athletes stayed silent, he reminded the world that silence is also a statement. Being an athlete, he said, doesn't exempt you from being a citizen. That moment changed everything. He became more than a player. He became a voice. Out of that fire came the foundation that defines his legacy, the 7 Use Foundation. Named after his personal mantra of energy and growth, it focuses on what he believes the world needs most: education, equity, and empowerment. He didn't just write checks, he wrote change. The 7 Use Foundation funds programs in STEM education, financial literacy, and Black entrepreneurship, giving kids the tools to not just dream, but to design their future. His message? Don't wait for the system to include you building your own. Every event feels less like a speech and more like a revolution disguised as a workshop. He's teaching kids not how to follow the play, but how to redesign the game. But Jaylen's influence doesn't stop at community centers. It extends to the boardroom. He's built what insiders call a hidden tech empire. Investments in AI startups, athlete empowerment platforms, and data analytics firms. He's bridging 2 worlds, basketball and technology, proving that the next generation of athletes won't just sign deals. They'll design them. Every move is intentional. Every partnership is rooted in purpose. He's not waiting for gatekeepers to open doors. He's building his own architecture of ownership. He's lectured at Harvard, MIT, and UC Berkeley, breaking down the intersection of sports, business, and social change. In one speech, he said, "If we don't learn the language of ownership, someone else will write our story." That single line became a mantra across the league, passed around locker rooms and classrooms alike. He's redefining what it means to be a modern athlete, part thinker, part builder, part activist. Every contract, every project, every dollar earned is part of something bigger. He's invested in mental health apps for young Black men, blockchain platforms for artists' rights, and AI-driven education initiatives. Each move builds toward a legacy far beyond basketball, A future where athletes don't just influence culture, they engineer it. Because for Jaylen, the revolution isn't televised. It's coded. It's taught. It's earned. He once said, "My dream isn't to be remembered for points. It's to be remembered for progress." That mindset makes him one of the most intriguing figures in the NBA, a man unafraid to mix intellect with influence. His foundation isn't just helping kids, it's inspiring fellow athletes to rethink their power, to stop asking for a seat at the table and start building their own. Because that's what legacy really means, not just leaving something behind, but leaving something alive. And as his career continues, one thing is certain: Jaylen Brown isn't waiting for change. He is the change. He's rewriting what it means to be a superstar in the 21st century, not through celebrity, but through consciousness. He's proving that the next generation of athletes won't just sign deals, they'll design them. From Marietta to marble floors. Jaylen Brown's story isn't just about talent, it's about transformation. Every victory, every investment, every silent morning of discipline led to this view, not of luxury, but of legacy. He's built more than a mansion. He's built a mindset. In a world that celebrates flash, Jaylen built a foundation. He turned his contract into capital, his voice into vision, his platform into power. Because for him, the real highlight reel doesn't play on ESPN. It plays in the lives he's impacted. He didn't chase fame. He chased freedom, ownership over attention, purpose over popularity. The mansion may be smart, but the man who built it is wiser. He's proof that greatness isn't just what you achieve, it's what you create for others to believe in. So here's the question: is Jaylen Brown redefining what it means to be an athlete, or rewriting what it means to be a mogul? Maybe both, and maybe this is only the beginning. Drop your thoughts below. Subscribe for more stories of Black excellence, and stay tuned, the next empire might already be under construction.